Welcome everybody. Good to be here. It's great to be here, especially when the weather's like this, and the views like this, and the locations like this. Fantastic. I spent a lot of time in Helsinki over the last 10 years, and Finland, and the rest of Finland, and had a great time, so it brings back good memories, especially when the weather's like this. So, my name's John Foster. I'm business manager in Europe for Topcon. My background is mainly Autodesk and Autodesk partners, one of those being in Finland before I worked for Topcon. What I want to do over the next 20-25 minutes is really tell you about our journey, Topcon's journey in BIM over the last 2 years since I've been with them, and talk about some of the new technologies that the whole BIM thing has enabled, really. But also talk about some of the smart partnerships that we've developed, that they have been built on. So, who's Topcon? That's what I want to start off with, because I'm not sure that all of you here are aware of Topcon and who we are. So we are a global organization, headquartered out of Tokyo in Japan, been around for a long time, since 1932, as you can see there. Quite a large company, about 3,500 people, $1.5 billion turnover, so a fair-sized company. But very importantly, we do plough a lot of our revenues back into R&D, about 10%, which is a very high proportion with comparative companies. Our business is optics. And you can see there's an image of an optician or an optometrist. And that is a large part of our business. That's aside from the business I'm in, which is the geopositioning business. So we are a multifaceted business. And I like to think of ourselves as a technology company. And with this world's first badge is what our culture is about. And that world's first goes right back to cameras and optics. And for instance, a few facts you may not know about Topcon. We were the first to come up with the SLR principle in cameras. We were the first to develop robotic total stations, the first to develop imaging robotic total stations, machine control solutions, and mobile mapping solutions. So for things like when you initially saw Google Earth and the smart cars going around, the equipment on those were actually Topcon in the first days. So Topcon's culture is one of world's first. And what I want to talk about, as I say, is the fact that we've seen BIM. BIM's been around for quite a long time, and various countries have adopted BIM over the last 5 years, some more than others. The UK, it's been by law that we have to work to a certain BIM level, certainly since April. But BIM has been an enabler for other technologies in construction, and that combined with other enablers such as mobile technology and cloud collaboration has really moved things on. And I want to talk about some of those BIM integrations that we've been working with some of our partners especially. It's led to what we call, and what I guess came out of the States and Autodesk initially, this word democratization, which is all about accessibility to more and more people, not only hardware, but software, workflows. So democratization has a big part to play in this. New technologies like wearables, I want to talk briefly about augmented reality that you already heard about from Yanni. And other technologies, back to our hardware, reality capture is very much being democratized as well. So I'm going to touch on those, and I want to start with BIM, and we try and keep BIM as simple as possible. There's lots been talked about BIM, especially in the UK, over the last 4 or 5 years. And I like to keep it simple, as I say. To me, BIM is all about doing things better, in a better way, better processes, more coordinated, as we heard before from Rambo. It's about working as a team, sharing information, collaborating, using common language. So that whole thing is really, the bottom line is doing things in a better way, better workflows, with a view to improving productivity, working more efficiently, reducing waste, getting it right first time, all these things. And it's not about hardware, it's not about software, it's about new processes, as I think we heard in the Rambo discussion. As I said, we've seen in Europe, I have a European responsibility, we have seen BIM adopted at different levels, 2 different levels, and at different rates. And in the UK, as I say, it has been brought in as law that we have to be at a certain level for government procured projects by the 4th of April. So that is passed. So BIM Day for level 2, which has a certain definition, file-based collaboration, that was introduced by law. So all contractors working on those projects, centrally procured government projects, have to be working or seem to be working towards level 2. And as probably we all know, they're not at this moment, but it's been a real stimulus to getting those companies and organizations and subcontractors really focused towards working to that level. So we're not there yet, but everyone it's really focused people, as you can imagine. So that's level 2, and you can see that there. I'm sure you've all seen this wedge that has been used quite a lot throughout the BIM world. And the next stage will be level 3, and there's plans in place, government plans in place to deliver that over the next few years. As I said before, when we talk about doing things better, it's about optimizing workflows. And that is not just the hardware, it's not just the software, but it's the whole workflow optimization. So historically, Topcon are a geopositioning company, so we've been a hardware company until recently. We're moving towards being more of a solutions company, so software, new processes. And in order to get us to that solution stage, what we decided to do around 2 years ago was work with the market leader in design for construction, which is Autodesk, in most countries in Europe, certainly in the UK, has a major market share. So we have been working with Autodesk to integrate some of those workflows with our hardware. And I'll talk about that in a minute. So all our technology, when I talk about our technology in geopositioning, I'm talking about all our technology supporting BIM and supporting BIM workflows, taking data. We're all about collecting data, measuring data, and what we want to do is make it as smooth as possible to take that data into various BIM workflows throughout the whole life cycle of a project in the smoothest way as possible. Now that could be machine control data, it could be layout with robotic total stations, it could be gathering data from UAVs, from terrestrial laser scanners, from GNSS data, systems. And combining that, as I said before, with the cloud, with mobile access, is a real enabler to some of those new integrations. So going back 18 months or so, we started talking to Autodesk, developing some new integrations with some of their software. And what we focused on was really 2 areas. One is for 3D model-driven layout, or BIM integrated layout. And we've been doing a lot of work, a lot of pilots on some of those new processes. And also with mass data capture. So data gathering via a variety of means, from a laser scanner, from UAVs, and you can see the fixed wing and the rotary wing UAVs, or drones, if you want to call them that. So it's all been about optimizing those workflows surrounding getting that data into various BIM workflows. So when I talk about layout, I'm talking about setting out. I'm talking about as well, so going from the office, if you like, into the field for setting out. And I'm talking about going the other way as well, so completing the circle. So validating what has been built and taking that back into the BIM model. So that has been a real focus and a great example of democratization, not only in the hardware, but also in the software. Let me go back to there. So by that, I mean, what we initially started working with was a really democratized piece of kit. That is a robotic total station you can see up there on the left, but very simple to use. So designed for not just a trained surveyor to use, but anybody to be able to use. The tradesman in the field to be able to do his own setting out, but also his own checking and QA validation to take that back and that audit trail back into those BIM workflows. That combined with new technologies in the cloud, combined with mobile access via tablets, via iPads, using Autodesk's BIM 360 tools, integrating, getting our kit effectively to talk directly via the iPad to the software. So you're taking the model into the field and able to do that task very simply. So that, again, about 18 months ago, this was all new stuff, new software, new hardware, new processes. So we wanted to get it out there and get the early adopters using it, and that is what we started to do. So we started working across Europe with some of those early adopters, mainly tier 1 contractors, enterprise customers of Autodesk who already had all the software. People like Skanska, Balfour Beatty, both on the civil side, but also on the building side, both vertical and horizontal projects. Across Europe, as I say, we've got Ireland covered by Rattigan, we've got Max Bugel in Germany, we've got BAM in Holland, and TBI in Holland, WSP in South Africa. So a number of lots of pilot projects to get that out there and get working with these guys on some of these new workflows. As I say, there's another picture of what we initially started out with in terms of this integrated solution with our democratized robotic total station, just following a prism in the field, very easy to use, one-button operation, self-leveling. So, anybody, the idea that anybody can use that. And that integrations, those integrations with those Autodesk mobile tools, mobile software tools, have also been, we've moved those onto other solutions. There's an image, that's put me off a bit because there's an image missing there. There should be a nice imaging robotic total station. But anyway, that's disappeared somewhere. But the important thing is that we started off with that lower end robotic total station. Now those integrations, as we've come along over the last 12 months, have now moved to more and more of our hardware. So that whole workflow is using, as I say, new Autodesk software. It's using things like point layout, which sits on top of Navisworks or AutoCAD or Civil 3D. And then effectively you've got your model with some points, you send it to the cloud using BIM 360 tools, and then you pick it up on the iPad, attach it directly to our hardware. And the full circle, as I say, going back to do your as-built QA. A few images there showing what you can see. So it's much easier to take that 3D model into the field. You're fully immersed in the model. You can see where you are. You can see where you are in the real world as opposed to the virtual world, and much easier to find your way about and do that task. And it's a real scalable solution because we're not just talking about the high-end BIM users who are using those pilots, who have all the software in place. They're using a lot of these new BIM workflows. We're talking about anybody because our hardware tools are BIM-enabled. we can still use them just with your phone using Magnet, our own software, Topcon software. So with some XYZ coordinates, but the important thing is it's very scalable. As you move towards from 2D to 3D to BIM, you can still use that same integrated hardware. So that is where there's been a lot of the focus, that BIM integrated layout, new processes, and a number of those companies that you saw that we were running pilots at have invested in those new workflows. You may have seen some of that marketing. Rattigans in Ireland is one of those companies that have moved all their projects towards those BIM integrated workflows, both using Autodesk software and our own Magnet software. So that's really interesting. The other area that we focus on, and really, again, all about gathering data and taking it as smoothly as possible and using that, consuming that data as easily as possible in BIM workflows, is in our mass data collection portfolio. And just to clarify what I mean by that, which I'm showing a few here. So we've got the UAVs, we've got the fixed wing for large area coverage. If you wanted to cover a quarry or something like that and take that into a CAD system, we've got our mobile mapping solution here that is taking images and scanning data on the move. So that can sit on any sort of vehicle. And then we've got a terrestrial laser scanner, the GLS 2000. And then we've got our most recent one, which is the Falcon 8 octocopter rotary wing. Again, that's for smaller coverage, more detail, closer up work, inspection type work. So different tools for different jobs, really. But the important thing, all that data can be gathered and combined depending on the levels of accuracy and what you're trying to do with the data. To be honest, it's not about the tool, it's about the data and how we can use that data in the best way. And again, this word democratization comes back into it because now it is much easier, it's cheaper, it's quicker, the processing of the data is much easier. To get that information, that as-built information, into a form that you can then use is much more accessible for people. So now we're seeing, rather than outsourcing, so lots of contractors nowadays, based on that democratization and the price, and it means that they're not outsourcing to a company to do that work. They're buying their own scanner, they're buying their own UAV, and then they're going to maximize the asset much more productively than they would if they outsourced it for a one-off task. So, and we're seeing a lot of many more applications due to that. It could be we're doing some retrofit work, some renovation work on a building or a bridge or a road, and we want to get that. What does it look like now? We want to take that into our design tools, whether it be Civil 3D or AutoCAD or Revit, and we want to design around it, or we want to compare, we want to take it into something like Navisworks or Viasys, and we want to clash detect it. So that's the many more throughout the BIM life cycle of a project. Just mention one more, progress monitoring. That is something that we're seeing a lot more of now as well. So the ability on a daily basis to send a UAV up, capture the status of the build, and then take that information, compare it with the 4D schedule. So seeing a lot more usage in those sorts of areas. Again, all down to because it's much easier to do that nowadays. And some of these, as I said before, what I wanted to do is just talk about some of the smart partnerships we've done. So we've recognized the need for this democratized approach and to forge some of these smart partnerships. So our fixed wing, the Topcon Sirius, is actually a partnership with Mavinci, a German company, and we have an exclusive deal to distribute that product. And it's all badged as Topcon, obviously. But more importantly, those integrations of software with the onboard software, very important for smoothing that process. Another example is with the Falcon 8 that was developed by a company called Ascending Technologies, now owned by Intel, very recently acquired, which means we have the partnership with Intel, which is very interesting for us. But again, it means that we can smooth that data flow into BIM wherever we want to use that data. Viasys, great example of another very smart relationship. So, a new member of the family for Topcon, and we're hearing about Viasys today. You all know Viasys, I'm sure, but very interesting for us with a BIM perspective, certainly because it gives us, an addition to our existing software, new integrations, gives us a new 3D engine, gives us new collaboration solutions, very open data solutions, which is what we want. And it gives us lots of opportunities going forward. Layout, which I've just talked about, another one where we can have integrated layout with Viasys solutions as well as Autodesk solutions. So it's really complementary to what we've been doing with Autodesk. Very open data, the ability to combine GIS data with BIM data. Again, very, very neat to be able to do that. So really looking forward to working much more closely with Viasys and those integrations that we'll see shortly. And we've taken the same approach with Viasys in that what we did with BIM, with layout, with those pilots, we're doing the same. So in the UK, we've identified some companies and we're taking Viasys to them to ask them what they think, to get them to use it, to get them to adopt it. And that is happening, started happening very recently. We started talking to the infrastructure owners about Viasys. That's very important because they own the asset, and that's where most of those benefits in BIM are going to be realized in the lifetime of the project. So quickly, as an example, because I know I'm running out of time. Viasys Pilot 1, Balfour Beatty Vinci joint venture on M4 Smart Motorway scheme. That is starting very soon. We've got one that has started already. This we're doing some other pilots on, and this has been identified as another pilot by Balfour Beatty, A21 road upgrade, which again, a lot of the focus of these is on the 2D, 3D modeler capabilities, because that's pretty unique in what we're seeing, to be able to take legacy data, design data that is in 2D and take that and automate that process to 3D and BIM. So that's all three of these pilots are focused on that. The third one is Taylor Woodrow Vinci. Again, the first two were road projects. This is a rail project. It's a London Underground extension. And this has already started. So looking forward to seeing the results of these, working closely with these guys, and exciting to see those happening. I wanted just to finish off with a final smart partnership. You may have all heard of this product called DAQRI. It's been in the news quite a lot. Our most recent development partnership with this US company. It's all about augmented reality, so there's a nice fit there with what Viasys can do, and I'm sure you'll be trying some of the augmented reality solutions that Viasys can give us. This is just another hardware solution to use augmented reality on, really, although it's a great concept. Fantastic, it's part of your personal protection equipment on site, so you need to wear a helmet, you need glasses or a visor, and this is giving you much more information, whether it be in the form of a model or directions on how to get somewhere on site, or 4D work instruction, or real-time visualizations, or to phone in for real-time help on a project. So the applications using this product are endless. Very early stages yet with Topcon, but very, very exciting to see how we can go forward with this, with applications, with proof of concept type projects, and integrated with Viasys as well. So that's really interesting. Quick final video. from Dakri. Gives you an idea. If you've got any questions after this, please come and talk to me. I'm here all evening. So it's not replacing the real world like virtual reality, it's augmented reality. So it's adding to your real world view of a construction site perhaps and giving you extra information. So being able to visualize underground service, where underground services are, for instance, on site alongside the real world. So lots of applications for that. And finally, just finishing off, we do a lot, as I say, we do a lot in R&D. That's why I'm mentioning all this. But Dakri have just bought a company called ThinkMelon. They have EEG, brainwave sensors. Again, the thought is that will be incorporated within a helmet in the future. So it will pick up what you're thinking. So you'll be able to not only take extra information in, but maybe if you think about, okay, I want to see this part of a model or these underground services, I can just think about it and it will pick that up. So I've seen some fantastic, and we're working with University of Cambridge as well on other projects, but I've seen some demos at Cambridge which shows exactly that, navigating around a model just by thinking about it, which is fantastic. And that's not far off either, so we'll see. But that's it. Thank you very much. I've overrun a bit, but thanks.